go! Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Yeah!
Alright, so as I said before, we have decided that we want to do all the romantic choices in this one because Kohai is really super into Asra.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as we understand, so there's a tiny bit of metagaming in here in the sense that all of the paid options contribute to the romance and or are about it in some way. Mm-hmm. So even if this option feels strange to me, it's clearly what they're writing the MC to care about in this case.
Yes.
So this is what Kohai cares about, and I will shape around that gently.
This is, quote, the best choice, which is interesting.
Oh, or it is a good, important choice. It costs money to get it.
It's so a romance choice, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, so...
if you don't know, we are going to have premium art for the scene, and we are going to use words adjacent, since we have an agreement with Nix Hydra that we are not going to use their words nor show their pictures.
Right, so if you have not been in a premium scene with us before, we have cover-up art incoming, and we're going to be ad-libbing what happens in here, and hopefully it will be a great time for all involved.
Yes, and
also,
it's actually going to be done, the art this time is actually going to be done by a guest artist called Draconisha.
Yes.
And so, please enjoy.
Yes!
All right.
I need to see it.
Same line again.
No, actually
Basically.
It doesn't. It immediately goes into...
Oh, it's Beauty and the Beast, where she looks into the mirror and talks about her daddy, going, I need to see him, basically.
It's Kohai speaking and basically staring at, the book and being like, I must see what these two people experience together in reference to what I care about right now.
Yes, which seems to just be Asra.
And then the power that is the
there
mysticism.
There was a magical, basically, response.
That it comes
but
about.
It seems like it's basically a little strained. It's a little thin, basically, trying to push beyond the bounds.
And it is not assisted by our good noodle friend this time.
No, our lovely is not involved.
Is not involved. So the magic that our beautiful soft white noodle has guided us to with
or
the books.
Or like lavender noodle.
Yeah, it's kind of lavender.
Yeah, lavender.
Is not involved in this particular choice to push for more
Maybe
info.
like hyacinthy lavender.
All right.
Oh, it's back to the shop, and here is Julian in a burb mask.
In the plague mask, which it's a cute mask, honestly. I've always thought it was very charming.
Yes.
All right, so it just flashes to that and then describes that...
It's the good doctor who is paused, sort of unsure, in front of our magic place where we work. And there's kind of where he's got his gloved fingers hovering, basically, like...
over the plague doctor get-up.
Yeah.
Protective
looking
device.
to take his beak off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like pausing. Should remove the beak or not.
Yep.
And then there's breathing. And the mask comes off.
Yep.
And
then he's like, okay, there's like...
by the way...
fucking candelabras burning my eyes out, except that they're not... and they're caged lights burning his eyeballs out.
This indicates very strongly that the tinted lenses of the mask do in fact function as like sunglasses. And so even though it's just lights at what I assume is a dark time of day, it's really just like, holy shit, that's bright.
Or it could be at night. Who knows? Which seems down
dark time of day. That's night.
Oh shit. Yeah.
All right. So that. And then...
and he's like, oh! I'm doing myself a pep talk. I got this. I have power. All right, I just need to tell myself that all I need to do, I just gotta walk forward and...
yeah, so he really just like...
I need Asra to understand the logic. Like, easiest thing ever. Piece of cake. Oh, I don't even know why I'm worried about it.
I need to explain things to him so he can comprehend them. And it will be no problem.
And then there's like an awkward gulp.
Yeah, gulp. That nervous.
And then just kind of he
gulp.
Like eyeballs. Look up at the board that hangs over
at the title of the shop.
Yeah,
indicated by like.
I imagine it's honestly just a sign because most people fucking couldn't read.
You could also
I'm
just
still annoyed, but
you could put like it's the shingle with the indicator of where you are.
I always thought it was just like a piece of painted wood.
Yeah.
All right, and then he's like, all right, and he like bangs through the door like that is a thing, and it's a dramatic entrance. His clothing flying everywhere, particularly his cape.
Particularly his very starched cape.
Which is amazing scene since we made fun of it so much last time. He's just Dracula.
Yes. Okay. And then.
Right, and Julian is loudly like, "Bro, speak to me."
The two of us must exchange words.
Yeah, and then there's a awkward pause as Julian has realized that that person, they're not around.
So what we've got so far is Julian is standing out front of the door of the place that we dwell and sell things, and then he just kicks it in dramatically, screaming for Asra to speak to him after getting a really nervous hesitation going on, and then he's just like, well, that was awkward because nobody's here.
Well, shit. And then there's this huge dramatic...
He's just disappointed.
Deflated. Sadness. And then
he investigates visually.
He's like, all right, and he pops himself back up, and he's like, okay, I got this, basically, and he just starts wandering around, trying to actually, make sure what he understands is what's going on.
I think, oh my god, it's such a moment of, I am so disappointed. Well, time to put on your big boy shorts, let's do this.
Pretty much. And so apparently, Kohai then is now actually picking up that the room that actually they're in the shop main area, there's apparently like a shit ton of like
power
that's just hanging in the room, and it's just dense and thick and like a solid, like
a miasma.
Like, I kind of want to say fog. Like a fog, miasma, that works too.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just, maybe
just
it
permeating
like
the
sound
space.
Out, maybe, possibly?
We don't know, but there really is a wow, the power that is within me is also within this shop everywhere, and it is this miasma that is like pea soup.
It is even being described in the next window as being really almost like, it has that actual
greasy
texture.
and slimy.
Yeah, just like, ew. And it's like a thing that crawls through the shop. It winds its way around. And basically also, there's actually like distinctive...
dark lavender, fog, basically.
Yeah, just actually like distinctive lines of it.
Just pouring out of a doorway.
Yeah, from a room in the back.
Yes, there we go.
Yep.
Sure thing.
And Julian's like, what the fuck now?
Yeah,
basically.
Julian seems very skeptical suddenly, like, oh, what the fuck
Oh
is
god,
this?
what's going on now?
Yes, what's next?
And then Asra suddenly just appears, I don't know from where.
It doesn't say. It's just poof, there's an image.
It just poof, Asra is on the screen.
Yep.
And then there's an addressment, a greeting, and then also a question of like, I need to ask a question.
Hi.
Hello? Why are you here?
Yes.
Like, that's very, and then also, then Asra is actually, so this is
suggesting, so the next line suggests that this is an immediate follow-up from the scene we saw previously.
Yes, so,
of Asra asserting that he was able to travel back here on his own and did not need assistance.
Yes.
Just as he had in the previous memory.
To his own shop.
Yes.
Yes.
And then
going like, dude, it's all right. I told you it would be okay. I clearly am doing fine.
I'm good. I know how to travel by myself. I definitely know not to talk to strangers. I'm okay.
And then Julian interjects in the middle, interrupting him, just being like, "No, you, but you," basically, kind of thing. And then suddenly,
and then he's absolutely choked up, like in his throat,
by
congested.
this purple magic that was just threading its way through the shop that we
and
talked
now it
about
just
earlier.
shoves him down, like it's just squishing him.
Yeah, it suddenly comes down really hard on him,
making
basically.
like an incredible pressure against him. So it's like he was about to form a question, and then he just got shoved down by this stuff.
And for some reason, Julian is getting a little aggressive about being like, "Oh my god, stop fucking about
with this power that
this
magicians use."
Well, like this abracadabra nonsense, because that's the way I would take that word.
It really is. It really is.
Like, come on, Lucio desires actual, rational shit, actual, basically results, also, actual test stuff you understand, not bullshit.
Would never appreciate sleight of hand.
Yes.
And misdirection, that kind of thing, yes. So he's suggesting that even though there's a force actually, restraining him or inhibiting him, it's like, hey, you're just basically disappearing coins.
Alright, I gotta say, so as playing that route, I never got the impression that I actually, actively disliked it.
Nope.
It was more just a fear, not a, oh my god, it's bullshit. Because clearly, you have So I know all the time sometimes like irrational dislikes, they're irrational, right? They don't always follow a logic. Like racism honestly has no fucking point to it.
Well,
and
it
people
doesn't
who
come
say
from
that
anywhere,
it does, they're lying to themselves,
It's
right?
irrational.
So like in this case, but they really seem to be pushing in that original route that like he was terrified because like it actually has like a power, a force. So I'm kind of wondering if this actually means that initially my reaction is something more like, oh fuck! This stuff is just crap! And then I actually got exposure to it, and it was like, oh shit, it's not just crap, which seems weird, based on the fact that, like, magic seems to be a pretty average thing in this world, except also it's really rare, so I can't decide.
In some of the routes, it suggests it's extremely rare. In other ones, it seems as though it's very common, and it's not
And also
actually
in some
discussed.
scenes!
And it's not actually discussed outside of any character's opinion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's no, like, hard numbers or anything like
There's
that.
no real idea of how much it is, except for that the characters in the main experience, your love interest, seem deeply involved with magic, which would suggest a pretty high saturation of magical stuff.
Which is exactly kind of what is my sort of trouble with this. And I'm sorry for using the Julian voice, but like he's talking in this scene,
That's
so I
fine,
figured
you can
actually,
think.
yeah. So because like
Let him
really,
hash it
I
out.
never got the impression that he even ever hated it before. It really was just like I have a pretty solid fear of something. One, that I don't understand, but also that I've seen do a lot of shit.
I would say, there's a discomfort of the unknown very much.
This
and in this case, it's just like, you're just doing the fancy flim-flam nonsense. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
And, the person who's hired you would not like
You're
that.
doing sparklers. Like, really, my dude, you're throwing fireworks everywhere.
And then a good doctor cannot actually stay standing because of the pressure upon him. And it's just like down to the like
collapses to the ground.
Yeah, basically.
Like really easy on the wood, just like shaking and like because this miasma is so strong, it's so powerful.
And
now
heavy.
what's fucking weirding me out is Asra's lack of response at this point.
Yeah,
because that just seems dickish.
I say again, Asra seems very indifferent here. So Julian's like, "Hi, you exist." Asra's like, "Why are you even here?" And then Julian's like, "You can't be doing this bullshit." And then he has a massive physical response to the shit going
and
on.
And Asra just goes,
And Asra has said nothing.
Yeah, Asra's just kind of...
Nor has had any emote changes.
Yep, not at all.
And then Julian keeps talking.
And Julian is like, he seems to be assuming that this is Asra. So he's like, eh! At first I'm sort of having a generalized response of what the hell is going on, and then directing it then at you going, the fuck, man?
Could you, pretty much explain
the phenomenon?
The experience?
Excuse me! And then Asra seems to be a little bit cheeky and finally has a little bit of a smile, and is just like,
are you unable to perceive? Do you not know?
Oh, can you not discern?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, actually, that's pretty bitchy.
You don't know?
Huh?
Don't you know? Alright, so then, there is, in fact, Asra is definitely entertained at Julian's plight, Julian's discomfort and distress.
Okay, so I will say something.
Okay.
Julian is still smiling, which is fucking weird, because I wouldn't take his lack of knowledge, awareness, vision, whatever else, as actually, I'm fine with this.
So the descriptive text doesn't line up with the fact that he's got sort of his, roguish smile on, if you will. That and
to me, it seems honestly like he's really baffled and confused. Not I'm gonna grin.
I'm down on the floor.
Or I'm gonna smirk a little bit,
hey! What is all this bullshit, huh? Flirtily.
Yeah, so that seems weird.
So I feel like the sprite is a little incongruous with what the way I'm interpreting his text.
Especially, so part of the reason also that this kind of bothers me is especially in reference to Julian's route, which we did play first. I really wouldn't get that attitude with him.
Nope.
Now, unless we're going to say, again, that this is earlier and somehow Julian had a very different experience with magic compared to now.
So, Asra again
is
very
delighted.
entertained, just absolutely, delighted as
at
he
least
watches.
It's sort of centered around, the top part of his face, sort of like,
as he's.
But he does have that little smile on.
Right, as he's just watching Julian be stuck and sort of struggle and suffer, and just kind of cocks, a little bit to the side.
Valdemar and
just poink, head off to an angle a bit.
His head cants off a little bit towards one shoulder.
Yep.
And just kind of looking.
And then there's touching going on.
And then actually it's stating that Asra just very nonchalantly reaches out, grabs Julian's head by the strands of his hair.
Yep, by the red strands on
and then yanks his head down, so the back of his head is going back towards his back.
Cocks
and
Julian's
forcing
head
him
to make eye contact.
Up, yep, and make eye contact with him.
Yep. And then
Asra, very sort of
calmly, extremely calmly,
very calmly, and a little bit of like, again, still slightly smiling, of just being like, what? It's bullshit, basically. You know, it's hocus pocus.
It's just playful.
And okay, so
and it's not actually real. It's just
relationships.
It's basically just an illusion kind of thing. So what you've got is Julian down on the floor, given his height, probably about hip height with Asra as far as like his head is concerned.
Since Julian is
and
the size
Asra
of the
reaching
trees
down,
in the forest.
just hand gripped onto Julian's head, digging into his curls and tipping it up to be like, "You will look me in the eye." So there's a real like sort of visual dominance and submission kind of thing going on here.
Which is, based on what I understand for Twitter canon, that is supposed to be kind of actually what the relationship was.
Oh.
Was Asra actually feeding into Julian's basically desire to be a sub. They had a very sub-dom relationship, which I think is really fucking weird, because I'd be like, then put it in here. Also, nobody's discussing dynamics. There's no setup of a scene. I am personally uncomfortable with the fact that everybody goes, no, but it's this thing. And I'm going...
I was like, it's not BDSM unless you communicate it clearly.
Yes.
It's
so one of the biggest...
undirected kink.
Yeah. So at this point, this is also weird, because I'm going, you guys never had a conversation around this at all, and suddenly Asra, this is weird.
Now one can say, well, Kohai just isn't observing all the discussions they had, but as it seems very unlikely.
It seems like a direct walk.
The lack of communication in the game overall so far would suggest that this has not been talked about and or planned and is not the familiar behavior. So Asra's dismissive.
Yep, and
Julian trembles.
Julian is having a horny response, basically,
and
just
the breathing response too. Yeah, that one.
heavy, like
immediately.
I'm very turned on. Like that is completely be clear.
And they're stuttering.
And then, of course, stutter, a little bit, definitely more serious, or basically blank face for him. I always take that as a little bit more serious for him.
Yeah, serious, less expressive, though. It's stoic.
Yeah, a little bit more stoic for him, and him just sort of, I wonder if it's kind of meant to be a little bit mocking, kind of being like, you know, like a thing that you've kind of dragged up from one of your weird old books.
From one of your nonsense books.
Right?
Yeah, your like, just unimportant and or joking
I don't
books.
want to take away, like, the fun of kink play or whatever else, but, like, again, as a casual observer, this feels very performative and for the audience, and it kind of, again, so remember how I talked about in the previous episode where I've seen some ads where they feel really heavily exploitative? Check out the yaoi in here, check out the boys love here, and I'm like, not that there's anything wrong with having those genres, but it's also like, it's very baity.
It's also, this isn't that genre,
look,
as far as we can tell.
Look, and I'm gonna, excuse me for making assumptions, but look, girls, boys who are cute, touching each other and being sexy and erotic with each other. For you.
Yeah.
And like,
a lot of the ads that I've seen are like that. There was one pretty infamous one where it really did, like, directly visually suggests, like, oral sex.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's, pardon the pun, ballsy.
It is.
I was just saying,
and it's also really funny because based on what I understand, they're like, no, this game is not inappropriate. And I'm like...
Or it's not mature.
It's not mature.
It has no mature or sexual content.
And I'm like, yes, it does. This is an open display of, like, if this is supposed to be what Twitter canon has said that it is, this is an open display of kink.
Yeah.
Like, this is a mature topic.
I was just say, and the thing is I don't know how, so interestingly enough, if Kohai is young and inexperienced, which, as far as we understand, and what I understand we're going to learn, that is the case, this wouldn't necessarily mean anything to them. Like, it would be weird, and it would definitely be there's something intimate and important going on here, but, like, as a young person, I definitely wouldn't have had context for any of this other than you guys are being really dramatic about something sort of oddly simple, but also looks vaguely violent, the whole grabbing your head and jerking it back. So it's just confusing. Yeah. And I'm like, does Kohai have context for this, or is this genuinely just for the viewer to titillate them at basically stepping outside of the game, and it doesn't work in the story context, it's more about fan service?
Which is so weird.
And that's a question I would have. Anyway, so it's mocking Asra's books, and potentially it came from there.
Yeah, from his books.
Asra parrots the line.
Yeah, pretty much. Just yodels it right back at him, you know, like, yep, of course, you bet. Let's state a fact. And then also, then offering to Julian, though it sounds honestly just more like a statement, and it seems to end as a statement, of going like, well, if you're interested, you know, I'm fairly...
I could involve you somehow.
yeah,
I
there's
think.
some way that I can involve you, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then our good magician releases the hair and moves down to the side of the face.
I says, it sounds like it's the other hand. So the other hand...
Oh, still, okay. It didn't indicate which hand. It just is, yes.
So
okay.
he's still holding the head.
So still holding hair, and then brings down other hand to cup the face.
The underside.
And
also,
then
just moves his
then
face
gently
back.
sizes up Julian's face. Like, let me get a good look at you, both sides.
Like you're kind of like my stock or something.
Like I'm looking at you sort of like a piece of meat, like an object.
Yep.
And then Kohai is
observing in Julian basically something that they would perceive as being like
interest
piqued my or
like interest and also like mild confusion.
I don't know if I would go like. Do you think interest goes to confusion? I don't think so at all. I think it's more like
maybe like interest and inquisitiveness
in going further
like,
along
I
with
don't
that
have
statement.
any idea what might be next, but I'm interested.
Yes, exactly.
That one. Okay.
Yep.
And then
and Julia's like
there's a sort of a hesitant stutter. And then well, sure, if you require assistance, you know.
And he's going, if this particular thing that we're doing
right now
or potentially getting into will assist you, I think it's implying back with the castle, I'll make a deal with you to trade basically what I'm reading as sex for that.
Yes, so basically
we're making a deal involving sex.
I will participate if this will do something important in reference to what I was talking about. That's what Julian is saying, of going, if this assists in the goal I've mentioned, I agree to submit to it, basically, to engage in it.
Well, if
it does that.
Yeah, if these things do it,
and it's a question twice.
Yeah.
Of will it help and does it do that? You know, like basically of the, is this going to assist and genuinely make a difference?
I am really uncomfortable with it right now.
Still this very, very chill, very smile, very in control.
Very
seeming.
polite cat face is what it looks like to me. Asra continuing to do the staring at and the judging of the
of Julian's quality.
Yeah, pretty much. And then seems to, I guess that means that he's let go and turns around.
Okay, but it doesn't say he releases Julian. It just says that he rounds and heads into the room. So I'm like,
the room that he came out from.
Are you dragging Julian by his hair as you just head back into the room?
That's wild.
Because you did. It doesn't say he lets go or moves his hands or anything.
That's why I said I'm assuming
there's
because
just an
otherwise
face and then into the room. Julian just yoinks along aggressively by his whole head. And Asra now looks sort of oddly worried.
Actually, that looks that's like Asra's Angie face.
It's grumpy.
But I'm also
grumpy
or
concerned.
If this is a scene, I would like to know.
Yes.
Because this comes across really strongly as a scene, but without the context of this needs to be a scene.
And if you're not familiar with kink and BDSM, saying a scene, it's not like a scene in the game. It's like an arranged activity that you've consented to beforehand. It doesn't have to be all scripted out, but you know what basically the parameters of what's going to happen are.
Even if it's just, so I want to act this way and I want you to act a little bit like this. Let's do this. So, and then we'll play a scene. We'll basically have a play that we play between each other.
A play act, and you do a lot of improv, and it's fun. I'll say, or at least it's supposed to be fun, in whatever your version of fun is. Anyway, so Asra suggests that he really does want this to assist in some way. Like there's this sort of
he's like basically that would
idea.
Be nice.
Like that could be great.
Yep. And then nope, he just let go. I was correct. So Julian is just like left on the ground, and then he's like, huh! And then scrabbles right after
gets to his full height. And tries to get his clothes back together, and
his pants. I'm guessing
just scoots after Asra
and runs after. No,
all right. And
then there's an affirmative of I'm totally following you. Yes, I'm following you.
Yep, I'm on my way.
Wait for me, kind of thing.
Yep. and then we get to see the room that they have entered, and Kohai describes that it doesn't look anything like they are used to, and it looks like it's been adjusted for Asra to do all of his work in reference to Lucio here.
Yes.
Instead of what ever Kohai is normally used to.
I just realized something stupid. We don't know where this scene ends.
Oh, I do, trust me.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
okay,
I do.
good. Okay. So then there's the observation from Kohai's perspective of various, apparently what they find to be unusual, basically plants that I imagine they would have worked with, but I guess there are some that are kept hidden from Kohai.
And also tools.
And various tools that Kohai has no idea what they are. They're literally scattered everywhere.
There's also a really strange piece of skeleton, the head of a skeleton.
Yep.
Yep. That makes Kohai real uncomfortable.
Like it has some kind of weird
aura,
crystal energy to it.
So then Asra is like indicating a space where
there is a circular bit of magic.
Yes, where there's a diagram of magic in that room, and is like
on the place where you eat or put your food or put set stuff out where you can plate it all
on the flat surface of the furniture.
Yep.
There's this
and
diagram.
There's a very what seems to probably be a fairly intense gaze where their eyes kind of meet.
Yes, and Asra is very much like, I'll look at you and you look at me and we're gonna
after Asra has wiggled their hands at this thing of check this out kind of thing.
And then Asra proceeds to list off some of the things that are in this display.
Which includes stuff that comes out of your veins.
Bodily fluids.
Bodily fluids.
And skeletal pieces.
You running around too fast and drippies come off of you.
Getting really warm
and then also
really
when
sad.
you cry, really warm, really sad.
Yep.
And then explaining that all of these things are incredibly useful. They have such strength in regards to setting off. They are the point for various spells.
For the magics intended, yes. And then Asra is curious, perhaps, and questions.
Okay,
Julian.
if I'm having the weirdest thing, because if that
really
means you're
strange.
using blood and bone, did Julian lose fingers or toes or?
Well, where did you get the bone from? Where did you get the blood from? Blood you can get from anybody and they can be fine, in theory. But bone is very different. And then Asra inquires, kind of ominously, given what's on that table.
With a smile, after saying all of those fucking ingredients.
And these specific ingredients, including bone, are very important things. And, the result of crying are very important, valuable things. Asks Julian, how much
are you willing to go?
What will you give?
What will you contribute? What's your limit, I wonder?
Basically, what's your limit for contribution to my pursuit? Does that sum it up?
Yeah, that's fair. And again, I'm kind of uncomfortable with this right now.
Yeah, that's
okay, so I will put in this particular case again, there seems to be, to me, still an uncomfortable, basically, power dynamic. Because I think Julian he seems far less, aware or even involved or really understanding of what the fuck is going on.
Yes, and it seems like...
this is taking advantage of him.
Yeah, it does
I don't
feel
like
that.
this.
No.
Anyway,
uncomfy.
And Julia's and stammers around a little bit.
And hedges
quite a bit, actually, hesitating.
Just
and then again, more gulping.
And
is still struggling, so I guess the miasma is still active here.
It is. And so, he's working really hard to stay upright.
Is I think what this is implying. Because it's still in the entire area that they're in.
Yep.
And his teeth are digging into his bottom lip.
Yep. He's nibbling himself.
And he seems very excited and has this very... what's next kind of thing while looking at the magician boy.
Instead of curiosity, it's intense interest. And then Julian
declares his entire being is available for use.
To solve this problem.
To solve this, or, again, we might be dealing with more of a double entendre here, but I'm still just this is still...
Because Julian stated that what he's willing to do is to help with the problem at the castle, or the plague, basically. I was gonna say, and even if he has shifted to, are we talking intimate times here? He hasn't changed his intentions as far as this is to help our bigger problem concerning Lucio.
Which I actually have to say makes me like Julian a little bit more. Because he's you're being kind of, like, I'm curious for sure, because you know how to get to me, but also it's like, he's really more of an outsider in this case, and Asra really is playing with him.
I would say Asra is definitely pushing his buttons, and Julian's going, God, I know you know how to do that, and
but also like, whoa.
I want to fix this problem.
Yeah, and it's very manipulative.
Also,
actually.
Julian looks like stressed blushy, not happy blushy.
I mean, he's had that face before. I never think of that as very, like, his very awkward, eyes averted kind of thing, looking down.
But still,
that to me is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
uncomfortable but
like
blushy.
I said, the stressed. And then Asra's like, oh, everything.
You dramatic person,
That's such a thing, as if basically dismissing it in a way that feels very much like, why would you ever think I would need that much? Ha ha ha. And then it's like,
just give me your finger.
Just reach out.
Reach out with your limb. Let me hold let me hold your hand.
Let me look at your fingers. And the bits that connect them together.
The palm.
Yes.
And then Julian is just like,
there you go!
Hand shoots out.
Yes.
And actually, it even says it's basically so quick and so with alacrity that it actually nearly, like, displaces shit in a way.
It starts to mess up the setup. Yeah. Or, like, nearly does.
And then, of course, now we're palm reading. Asra is doing sexy palm reading.
Okay, so
by doing the thing that everybody does, going, here's the long line of your life.
Julian is wearing his gloves.
Yes.
His characteristic thick leather gloves that creak, and Asra is holding his gloved hand.
And can tell.
And is looking at his the lines on his palm.
Yeah.
While the leather glove is on.
And he can tell where various lines are, and he can tell. Me laugh.
Yep, and then Asra grabs a knife, a special fancy one.
I wonder, is it for a ritual?
And then of course, ritualistically,
probably
just stabs it through the glove.
Because he would have to.
It's not stating the glove is there, but the picture clearly shows the glove is there.
And they haven't mentioned that he's taken a glove off.
They haven't removed it. He took off his mask, but he has not taken off his gloves, and he's clearly straightened his clothing already, and so that is his canon clothing. His gloves are on in this scene. The gloves are not off.
So what's happening here is that you have a knife pushing a glove into flesh. Which is incredibly fucking dangerous. Please don't do this.
Also, that's a lot of germs. It's a lot of germs.
Like I said, please don't do this.
Yeah. In fact, it can be so dangerous to get fabric into your flesh that people have fought nearly nude for knife fights and sword fights.
Oh, there's actually
to avoid the
whole
danger.
Women's fencing club that existed either in England or France. I can't fucking remember.
Topless.
And they were completely topless because the big problem wasn't actually getting cut. It was getting the fabric
fibers
stuck inside of their skin, because that would cause more fucking problems than getting sliced up.
Yep. Anyway, so this happens, and Julian's leaking now.
Of course, and it drops down. As
leaking
it would.
quite a bit onto the surface with all the magical bits on
Which does actually apparently have a magical reaction with the diagram on the table.
And it glows and disappears.
Yep, so it's there, and a little bit like in Hellraiser, it gets sucked in, or at least it just disappears.
Yes, and it's very much like this I don't know how much, like, Asra just, like, shove this thing into your flesh, but it is just, like, the liquid inside the body just pools up and flows down and just on the surface, just boof, and then the magic goes. And then Julian's just like...
Julian's like, oh.
Really?
Oh, is that,
Are we done?
Anything more?
Is that
all we're doing?
Yep.
Is that all that's required?
Is it done? Yeah.
Right.
And then...
And Astra sort of has this laugh.
This soft little...
It's like, oh, wait. Yeah, and I'm imagining the next scene is going to be, oh, you thought we were done. So we haven't even clicked it yet. I'm cackling because
but there is this soft,
is so tropey.
Like mumbling laughter, if you will, like closed mouth laughter. And then a looking up at
a little
Julian.
coy, probably, look.
And then Asra inquires, and
that
Julian is into peak sexy face.
Yeah, peak.
Like
his horny, like when he was tied up thing where you had that suggestion before we picked that scene.
Yeah, where you can see
the
his
lip
teeth.
bite.
Yeah, everything. And Asra is like,
oh.
You liked that, did you?
Would you like more?
Would you like more? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue with that thing?
Would you like more pain?
Would you like me to hurt you again?
Which I feel like
or
Julian...
to damage you again.
You know what? Julian has not gone to the limit yet.
It's true. Asra's like, is that your limit? Do you want to bleed? Again?
And then Asra, like, kind of a dick again.
Just kind of like, no, we're good.
That's it.
That's the whole thing.
You know, that was all was required.
Yep. And Julian's like, What?
And then Julian suddenly, with like just turns on a dime, I guess is what I would say. That it's just like, well, the horses, pull them back.
Yes.
What the fuck? I actually still want to know though what's going on with your hocus pocus. Like, what is this
And the
even?
thing
What
that
the
just-
type is it?
Yeah, the thing that just happened.
What is that?
What was that? Yeah, what just occurred?
Yeah, tell me what happened.
And Julian looks completely like saucy composed again, like rakish, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then Astra's like, oh goodness.
He's like, what?
How would I know?
He's like, who knows? He's like, I mean, the only way to find out is like, if a thing happens, that's all I've got.
He's just
so
like,
he's being super
He's
coy.
really vague and coy and just cagey about this, of being like, could be something, could not be something, just time will tell.
Who knows?
I have no idea. Why would you think I know?
And then Julian is like,
Grumpy.
since he's being actually so cagey, is like, dude, is this going to actually put you in harm's way?
Is this a bad thing?
But he gets interrupted as he's saying that, and there's this shock.
Oh my goodness.
Like, whoo, eyeballs.
Oh.
Asra pulls a Lady Dimitrescu. We can completely sum that up. So in one of the scenes that they did for the trailer, you have your main character. The trailer of Resident Evil Village.
Thank you.
They have the character Lady Dimitrescu, where she, one of her daughters, I think, cuts open the point of view character's hand. She grabs the hand, pulls it up to her face, and starts sucking up the blood that wells forth.
Yes,
basically.
and so basically, with Julian's sliced glove and damaged palm, with the blood still oozing up through the glove.
Asra more or less kind of pulls that.
Picks it up and goes blem 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 blem, and it just stops Julian dead in his tracks.
Yeah, and he completely owns Julian's eyeballs with his own.
He's just like, I will get your entire attention.
And then so while he's doing this, he's mumbling, "Shut up, there are too many words coming out of your mouth."
So he's licking actively Julian's palm against his face, leather smashed against his face, blood coursing into his mouth, and he's just like, dude, shut up. You say a lot of stuff.
You have many words.
You can't keep vomiting the words. Could you quit that?
Like, that's kind of... and then Julian, blushing because he started that on the last scene,
back
or
to
the
sexy
last
face
image, is just like, oh God, please tell me what to do.
Yes, just direct me.
Direct me. I am a horny. And then Asra is
like, I'm sure you'd be into that.
He's like, yeah, of course. Yes, it's a
very mocking statement of, oh, that'd be such a thing for you.
So you have to excuse me. Again, Julian can be completely serious, but all I'm getting from what Asra has done previously, leading up to this point, he just is coming off as an asshole.
He is. It seems very patronizing here. Now, I can get how you could say it in a purring, sexy tone, but none of that's indicated here. Well, there's no indicated of Astra's tone at all in this statement. It's just a sort of mocking phrase of, you'd really be into that someone, the way you are.
Right.
Basically.
But also, the reason I'm saying why it feels that way, despite the fact that what I think they're going for is truly, they're both into it going, and Astra's going, I've read you properly, is the fact that Asra had to read him, and they didn't have a fucking discussion about this, and this seems deeply inappropriate. Anyway, Astra's being an asshole, I don't like this. And then, of course...
Asra gets closer.
Asra instead goes around the fucking table, apparently, because I thought they were on opposite sides of the table.
I have no idea what their adjacence to the table is.
Anyway, so somehow the table is completely forgotten about. Asra voips through it, I'm assuming, glitches through the table, finds Julian, and
does a Covenant!
Does a test to see if he will resist when hands are pushed against him. And Julian is like, oh, I am completely amenable to this. And so Asra goes, great, and slams him up basically against the wall.
Okay, so he does actually test for basically Julian's physical consent.
Yes.
To, I will push you around.
But I'm still annoyed.
But there's still no discussion here. And also, Julian keeps going from, what are we doing? Oh, we're maybe doing that. I'm so turned on and stressed out that I'm just going to be like, okay, that's hot. And then going, wait, I'm trying to focus again. Okay, no, that was hot.
Which is where I'm saying this feels very manipulative.
Feels very weird. Yeah. And then
Julian just
very enthusiastic.
Goes off about, holy crap, yep, motherfucker, please, all the gods and all the stars, whatever it is you desire, I will be your slave, kind of thing. That is just rambly, it just keeps going.
It just words its way along to please, yes. And then
Asra is... so I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be basically the Dom setup of being like, no, you must have patience because that's not going to happen.
Or not even patience, you need to understand what my limits are in this situation. Because if I'm thinking about the fact that they're not in that relationship anymore, and my understanding of Asra's actual interest, based on the fact that he seems to be in love with your MC, which is what the root is about, so let's just go there. It's the, I can't go all in on this, and you need to know that.
Except that suddenly just makes it worse. I'm going to actually manipulate you and exploit things that so deeply affect you.
Super excited and compromised, in emotionally compromised position because you're so aroused.
That is a fucking manipulative boyfriend. Do you know what that is? Oh my god, that's the manipulative boyfriend tactic. So some people talk about it where basically, like, so they talk about cis men with their cis girlfriends, right? This is largely where I've heard the story, where sometimes people will observe in sexual relationships, particularly with adults, that basically what happens is the guy is used to being in power. What he'll start doing is start petting her either sexually, or he'll start, basically physically touching her, or he'll start basically finding ways to try to shut her up, kissing her while she's talking about things she cares about, but he doesn't care about. And he actually tries to manipulate her to being turned on and doing the things he wants her to do rather than expressing her feelings.
And basically it's like, it's that sort of thing of where people will often call it dubious consent.
Yes.
Where it's but you're so turned on, maybe you do want this, or you'll give consent later because it's so good, which isn't consent.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, but it's very much a scene of that in here, and it is a yaoi trope as well, where it's I don't want this, but I'll get you so hot you can't say no.
Right.
And in this case, what I'm feeling, and it may not be true because this is just my interpretation from limited information, is Julian going, take all of me, I'm at your feet emotionally and physically, and completely open to you and vulnerable and, ready to just dive all in.
And also, you keep smacking every one of my buttons without regard for what they do to me.
And then Asra says, no, I'm not going that far and you need to know this. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, the thing is like, I don't have a problem, so in regards to fantasy, also in regards to reality, we have to talk about the fact that it is a reality that dubious consent does happen.
Oh, it exists,
and I get that, but I'm also like, the fact that this is portrayed here so weirdly uncritically sort of annoys me.
Well, and also, again, in a game that's rated for a wide range of
very general audience.
Yes.
So the thing is you have to realize a lot of times, so what the ratings are about, so when you have, in the United States, you have G, PG, PG-13, and R, and NC-17, there's an assumption that with those quote, basically ages that are usually associated with those. So you have G's general audiences, right? So basically anybody could watch it. They go, this is so easy to understand that anybody could watch it and no one would find any offense.
So PG
and then also everybody
is literally parental guidance, which suggests that 1, you're mature enough to handle these topics on your own, but 2, you're going to have a mentor figure help you through this, of going, if there's anything you don't understand or any questions you have or anything that is new or strange to you or unsettling, I will be there to explain it to you. Whether it's not a parent or not, it's just a mentor figure. And then it goes up from there. And basically the assumption is that you will either have the support you need to understand this.
Yes. And also understand that you can ask questions and that you should, and that constructive, asking constructive questions, engaging with what's going on in front of you is an expectation. I know, it's fine.
Okay. Or you will be of an age where you already have the social experience that this is not new or strange to you.
And it's also not basically hidden or very subtle to you. You understand what's going on.
Asra's I can't do what you're doing. And then Julian is just gives up on standing.
Kneels before him, looking up at Asra with just oh my god, I am so
ready.
So ready.
So ready.
Just I have so horned. Turned up to 11.
I was going to say, you have pushed my buttons so effectively. You have hit every avenue of access to my arousal that I don't care anymore.
I'm overwhelmed at this point.
And then
Julian acquiesces in that way of being okay, I don't have it all, but whatever you want to throw at me, I'll take it.
Yes, basically that's an acceptance of, okay, you've put limits down and it might not be what I want, but I'm so gone, I don't care. I might regret it in the morning, but right now I don't care.
Because you've also put me in, I'm how the hell, you do have to also, though, go past point, if you're going to say that these are adult, mature characters, there is a point where you go, yeah.
And that's
Julian is making his own decisions, but also at the same time, which pisses me off, is going like, but Astra's taking advantage of something that he knows sets Julian off.
So this is an interesting thing in psychology. That's very, and I love human psychology a lot. It's really fascinating. So there's a thing where basically, if you're being manipulated into consenting, you're not giving true consent.
Yeah.
And the thing is you can be manipulated into it by being put in an altered state where you're disinhibited, sort of, drugs or alcohol. But also you can be manipulated into it by that thing where we were talking about of like being basically deliberately
physically groomed,
psychologied into, like having your mind and body played with to a point where you're not rational in reference to this.
Yes.
Or that point where of going, if someone's like, you have been starved for 3 days and I'm going to put a food in front of you and I say, if you eat this, you'll forfeit your soul to me. And you're going, I can't forfeit my soul, but you're so hungry. It's like, well, maybe just for now, or maybe it won't be that bad kind of thing. And it's like, you can have the food, but...
And like I said, it also, this can be a really interesting topic, but...
It can be an interesting dynamic, too. Yeah. But again, in a wider genre game with no discussion, it's a little heavy. It's awfully heavy. How about that?
So which is why I'm saying this is really weird. It makes me feel weird.
Then
Asra is doing the giggle. Just, and of course, hands go back down, going into the curls and the waves, and again just starting to yank, and is going down with his face, and then it goes to white.
Ta-da-da! I'm thrown back to the present. I can find this accent.
It's okay.
It's and here's our adorable Faust being like, confusion? I have no idea what happened. All right. Yeah. Well, let's get a couple of lines.
Yeah, no worries.
Does she know what I just saw? No, she couldn't. She wasn't involved. I did this without her. It was my own magic and unassisted, and I gather myself up and glance out the window, which is stained glass, and therefore you cannot see anything through it.
Yes.
So I look at the light in the window, which is brilliant colors, and the beautiful stained glass, and that is all I see. The late afternoon light fades to dusk as the sun sets on the distant horizon, which I can't see, but I can tell from the shadows and the angle through the window, casting the library in long shadows. I have been here a long time in these memories, is what I am gathering from this information.
That is what I'm hearing, too.
And all of us have been here a long time in this scene, so perhaps for today, we should wrap it up?
Yes, absolutely. So, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Also, please share our videos. It does a lot for us. Please interact, God, in any capacity. It actually does a lot for us in regards to the YouTube algorithm, which is killer and unknowable. But in this case, we have some information. So, also, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch. Woo! We have some links in the description down below. If you'd like to support the channel, check out things we're doing. We would love to see you there. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!